previous video, I have explained about verbs, the kinds of verbs, auxiliary verbs, modal auxiliaries, and I just introduced you to the modal auxiliaries or the modals. In this video, I will be explaining about the structure and where to use the modals. Whenever we are framing any sentence with any modal verb, the thing we have to keep in our mind is that either we have to use the basic form or the infinitive form of the main verbs after the modal verbs. Like for example, I must go to sleep. There the main verb is in V1 form. And here the modal verb is must. So likewise, whenever we are making the sentence, we have to use either the V1 form or the infinitive form of the main verb after the modal verb. Previously, I have told you when we are having the singular subject, we have to use S or ES with the verbs. But with the modal verbs, we cannot add S or ES to the third person singular. For example, we can say only he can swim. We cannot say he can swim. That is wrong. We are not supposed to add S or ES with any modal verb. Modal verbs don't need auxiliaries to form negative and questions. That is, in order to make a negative sentence or an interrogative sentence, if a sentence is already having a modal auxiliary or a modal verb, it doesn't need the help of any primary auxiliary to make any question or a negative sentence. So think the sentence is she should stay. That is our sentence. It is a positive sentence. So if we wanted to make a negative sentence, we can simply make she shouldn't stay. We doesn't need the help of doesn't over there. She doesn't stay there. Should stay. That is wrong. And if we are making a question with the same sentence, it should be why should she stay? It doesn't need the help of does in that sentence because already the auxiliary is not needed there because the modal verb is there, should is there. So with the same modal auxiliary, we can make a negative and a question sentence. Then next thing is modal verbs don't have infinitives or ing form. That is, we cannot say canning, to might, to shall, to will. All these are wrong. So we cannot use to and ing form with the modal auxiliaries. Now let's focus on each modal in detail. First one is can. So we are using can in order to show the ability or possibility or impossibility or asking for permission or for the request. You can see the examples given there. They can control their own work. It is showing their ability. Can you help me? That is a request. And can I bring here? That is asking for the permission. So for all these things we are using can. The next one is could. Could is the past tense of can and we are using with permission. Could I borrow your dictionary? Request. Could you say it again more slowly? Then for the possibility, I think we could have another tea. Then future, I wish Sindel could meet me next week. Then for the ability, he gave up his old job so he could work for us. For all these things we are using for a permission, request, possibility, future and ability, we are using could. May we are using to show the permission or the possibility. May I have another cup of coffee? I may finish my work. So in order to ask for any permission or for the possibility, we are using may. Might is also used for showing the possibility. We would better for tomorrow they might be eating their dinner enough. Will is a modal verb we are using to show the decision, offer or promise. For the promise we can say I'll come back on Monday. That is a promise. And for the decision I can't see my taxes so I'll walk. So I will walk. That is again a decision. Then the offer, I will do that for you if you like. That is an offer. So in order to show all these feelings, we are using the modal verb will. Would is the modal verb we are using to show the permission, request and invitation. Would you mind if I brought a Friend with me, that is a permission. Then would you mind waiting a moment? That is a request. An invitation, would you like to play basketball this Friday? So in order to show the permission, request and invitation, we are using the modal verb would. The modal shall is used for the offer, suggestion and permission. Shall I help you with your luggage? Shall we stay 2:30 then? Shall I do that or will you? So for the offer, suggestion and permission, we are using shall. Should, we are using for saying what is right or correct. We should solve this problem. That is a compulsory thing. And for the possibility, fees should decrease next year. For possibility also, we are using should. Now we can focus on must. Must we are using for the obligation or duty. You must wear a seat belt when you drive. It is a duty. Then for the deduction, deduction means certain something is true. Sure that something is true. Look at all that snow, it must be cold outside. So we are assuming and it will be truth. There we are using must. Then for the emphasizing necessity. You must study if you want good grades. So we are emphasizing to study well. Then for the strong recommendation. We must get together for dinner soon. That is a strong recommendation. These cupcakes are yummy. You must try one. That is also a recommendation. Then for the positive assumption, that is in the past. There we are using the format is must have V3 form. Must have plus past participle means V3 form. That must have been my mother calling me while I was in the meeting. So it is in the past tense. Okay, for the positive assumption, it should be positive, not the negative. Assumption means belief. So there we are using must have V3 form. Okay. Then we can see the do's and don'ts in must. So if you wanted to make a sentence, the base form of the infinitive we cannot use here. Okay, and we cannot add yes to must. It will be must only. Even if the subject is singular, it will not be musts. It is wrong. It will be simply must. Then we cannot add yes to main verb as well. She must wait. That is correct. She must wait. That is wrong. Then you must go. That is right. You must to go. To infinitive is not needed for any model. So for must also it is not needed. The negative form of must is must not or mustn't. And it is important that you do not do something. There we are using mustn't. You mustn't use your phone while driving. So it is showing the negative things that we are prohibited to do or we are not allowed to do. There we are using mustn't. Sometimes in a few textbook you can see one more auxiliary, that is have to. Okay, and must and have to is almost similar and there is a minute difference between both. So now I'll explain where to use must and where to use have to. So must we are using when the speaker thinks it is necessary. It is a personal opinion or it is a written rule or instruction. Like for example, you must complete the essay by Friday. The teacher says you must complete the essay by Friday. So it is an instruction. It is the way the speaker thinks that it is correct. So in order to show that, we are using must. While have to we are using when another person thinks it is necessary or it is an external obligation and it is a fact, not an opinion. For example, student says we have to complete the essay by Friday. It is an external obligation. Okay, and it is not an opinion, it is a fact and it is very necessary. There we are using have to. So must is using when we are having the written rules or instruction or if it is an opinion, but have to is used for the fact and it is an external obligation. And one more thing, when we are having the past tense, we have to use had to instead of must in the past tense. Instead of must, in the past tense sentence, we have to use had to. I had to pay my speeding ticket yesterday. It is yesterday, it is past tense. So there we cannot use must. So instead of must, we have to use had to. Then have to is more common than must in questions. In order to frame an interrogative sentence, we are using have to more than must. When do you have to finish the report? When do you must finish the report? That is not right. You have to use have to in the interrogative sentence, and the past tense of must is had to. Till now I have explained about models can, could, may, might, shall, should, will, would and must. And now we can focus on the semi-models, and they are need, dare, used to and out to. Dare is used as a semi-model or main verb to express the courage and boldness to do something or to express anger at something, and is often used negatively. So the semi-modals are actually acting like a main verb itself. That is why they are called semi-modals. So dare can be used as a normal verb with to and an auxiliary verb without to. So whenever we are using dare along with to, that is a main verb, and if the dare is seen without to, that is an auxiliary verb or a modal verb. As a normal verb, we are using in affirmative sentence, I dared him to jump. Or he didn't dare to stop me. That is a negative. And as an auxiliary verb or as a modal verb, we are using it like he is a daredevil. It is showing the boldness of that person. Then he dare not do so. It is again a modal, because there we are not using to. If we are using to, that is a main verb. If we are not using to, that is an auxiliary verb or a modal verb. And for interrogative sentence, no need to use any auxiliary verbs if that there is a modal verb. If it is not a modal verb in that sentence, there we have to use any WH word to make any interrogative sentence. But if we are taking dare as a modal verb, dare will actually act as a question verb over there. Dare anyone go there? There we are using dare as if a WH question word. While out to, we are using to advise, to suggest an action or to show that it is necessary. You ought to revise your lesson. There it is an advice. Then Margaret ought to exercise more. Again it is an advice. And for the probability, we are using ought to. Our team ought to win this match for today. That is a probability, chance only. She ought to receive the packet tonight. That is again a chance. For the advice and for the probability or the chance, we are using ought to. Need is a modal auxiliary that is used to show the obligation or duty or necessity. For example, you need to work until late tonight. And need can be used as a modal verb or as a main verb with no change in meaning. So in both ways we can use need. Need I put more oil in my car? Do I need to put more oil in my car? Here in the first sentence, we can say it is clearly a modal auxiliary. In the second sentence, it can act both as a modal auxiliary and as a main verb. And need will act as a verb without to is used in negative and interrogative sentences. And we can use don't have to, doesn't have to, didn't have to. That is in past tense. Don't and doesn't is in present tense. And didn't have to, we are using with past, or even must, we are using for the same modal auxiliary need. So these all words can substitute need. And in affirmative sentence, we use need to express necessity. The last modal auxiliary or the semi-modal is used to. Used to we are using to show the past habits. Okay. When I was a teenager, I used to go dancing every weekend. So it was my past habit. It was a repeated action in my past. In order to show the past habit, we are using used to. Then for the past states and no longer true. Now in the present it is not true. There we are using used to. I used to be blonde when I was a child. So it was my past state. It is not in my present, or it will not be in my future as well. There we are using used to. I hope you understood model auxiliaries completely, and still if you have any doubt, please do clarify at the earliest. Thank you for watching and be happy and safe at your home.